Hello Zenith women, and welcome to the channel. The most dangerous opponent is the one who refuses to play your game. You see, most people can be manipulated, controlled, or swayed with the right tactics, but not a Sigma female. She's not just hard to fool, she's impossible to play. Here's a fact. Studies show that highly independent thinkers are significantly less susceptible to emotional manipulation. Now, if that's true for the average independent person, imagine what it means for a woman who has built an entire identity around being untouchable. That's the Sigma female. People try to play mind games with her, only to realize they're the ones being played. They set traps, but she already saw them coming. They try to provoke a reaction, but she remains completely unbothered. If life were a poker table, she'd be the dealer, and everyone else would just be clueless players losing their chips. So if you've ever thought about testing a Sigma female, I suggest you sit down, rethink your choices, and prepare for a masterclass in self-destruction. Because in this game, she's already won before you even knew it started. Number 1, she can read between the words you don't say. Most people listen to words. A Sigma female listens to everything else. She catches what you don't say, the way your voice shifts, the second you hesitate, and the tiny inconsistencies you thought no one would notice. She reads between the lines so effortlessly that it feels like mind reading, but it's just her sharp intuition mixed with years of observing people's real intentions beneath their words. When someone tries to deceive her, they assume she'll only focus on the words they carefully choose, but that's where they fail. A slight pause before answering, she clocks it. A forced laugh after a lie, she notes it. A tiny flicker of hesitation before agreeing to something, she stores it away. These are the cracks where the truth leaks out, and she picks up on them instinctively. People often wonder why their tricks don't work on her. It's because she listens to how you say things, not just what you say. A fake apology with no real remorse. She won't react to your words. She'll react to the emptiness behind them. A sweet compliment that doesn't match your energy. She won't be flattered. She'll be suspicious. A story that sounds just a little too perfect. She won't nod along. She'll dissect every part of it until she finds the flaw. She knows that people lie in different ways. Some lie with exaggeration, some lie with omission, and some lie with politeness. She recognizes when someone is telling the truth but leaving out key details, when they're agreeing just to avoid confrontation, and when their enthusiasm is just a little too forced. And the best part, she never calls it out right away. She lets people think they've fooled her while she quietly collects proof. This is why manipulators hate dealing with her. Most people fall for the words in front of them. A Sigma female? She focuses on the silence behind them. And when the truth finally comes out, because it always does, she won't be surprised. She already knew. She was just waiting to see how long it would take for you to admit it. Number 2, she's not afraid to let people destroy themselves. A Sigma female doesn't waste her energy on exposing frauds, warning others about manipulators, or getting caught up in the chaos people create for themselves. She understands a fundamental truth. People who build their lives on deception, ego, and control always destroy themselves in the end. All she has to do is step aside and let it happen. When someone tries to play games with her, she doesn't react the way they expect. She doesn't chase, argue, or try to prove a point. Instead, she gives them the one thing they can't handle, themselves. She removes herself from the equation and lets them spiral under the weight of their own lies. She knows that manipulators thrive on engagement, on drawing people into their drama. Without a reaction, without someone to manipulate, they start unraveling all on their own. She's seen it happen too many times to waste her breath trying to intervene. People who are fake, dishonest, or manipulative eventually get exposed, not because she goes out of her way to reveal them, but because they can't sustain the act forever. Their own inconsistencies catch up to them. Their greed, arrogance, and selfishness eventually push away everyone who once supported them. And by the time they realize they've lost, she's already gone, uninterested in their downfall. That's the part that stings the most for those who try to play her. She doesn't stick around to watch them crash and burn. She doesn't celebrate their failure or seek revenge. She simply moves on without looking back, as if they never existed. And there's nothing more painful for someone who thrives on control than realizing the person they tried to manipulate doesn't care enough to even acknowledge their downfall. While others waste energy on revenge or trying to warn the world, a Sigma female keeps walking forward, untouched, unbothered, and focused on building her own life while others destroy theirs. Number 3, she can walk away mid-game without a second thought. The most brutal move a Sigma female can make isn't fighting back, it's walking away like you never existed. When someone tries to manipulate her, play mind games, or test her limits, she doesn't engage in a battle of wits. She doesn't argue, explain, or try to make them understand. She simply vanishes, mid-game, mid-sentence, mid-situation, without hesitation or regret. Most people crave closure. They want a final conversation, a dramatic ending, something to hold on to. But a Sigma female? She denies them that completely. She knows that the worst thing you can do to someone who thinks they have control over you is to remove yourself from their game entirely. No warnings, no breakdowns, no long explanations, just silence. And that silence, it's deafening. It forces people to sit with their own actions, to wonder what went wrong, to question whether they ever had any power over her in the first place. The answer? They didn't. What makes this so devastating is that it's not done out of anger or spite, it's indifference. She doesn't leave to prove a point. She leaves because she simply doesn't care enough to stay. She sees when a situation is a waste of her time, when a person is playing childish games, and when her energy is better spent elsewhere. And the moment she makes that decision, she's already gone, emotionally and mentally, long before she physically disappears. And here's the real kicker, she never looks back. No regrets, no second chances, no reopening closed doors. Once she's done, she's done. That's what breaks people the most. They expect her to return, to explain, to give them another shot. But they quickly realize she's not like the others. She doesn't do rewinds, so if someone thinks they can toy with a Sigma female, they better be prepared for the moment she stops playing, leaves the table, and never acknowledges the game existed in the first place. Because nothing stings more than realizing the person you tried to manipulate moved on like you were never even there. Number 4, she knows power isn't in domination, it's in emotional control. The secret weapon of a Sigma female isn't aggression, dominance, or loud displays of strength. It's absolute emotional control. She doesn't need to yell, threaten, or force her way into power because she already has something far more dangerous: the ability to remain completely unshaken no matter what. Most manipulators thrive on emotional reactions. They provoke, gaslight, and stir up drama, hoping to trigger anger, fear, or desperation. But when they try this on a Sigma female, they run into a wall of cold, calculated indifference. She doesn't give them the fight they're expecting. She doesn't lash out, break down, or engage in their psychological warfare. Instead, she just observes, calmly, silently, and without a single crack in her composure. This drives manipulators insane because their entire game depends on controlling someone's emotions. And if they can't control her emotions, they can't control her, period. They throw everything at her: guilt trips, silent treatments, backhanded compliments, even fake affection. But she remains unmoved. She sees through every tactic and refuses to play along. And here's the real power move. She doesn't just resist manipulation, she flips the script entirely. When a Sigma female refuses to react, it forces the manipulator to confront their own lack of power. Their usual tricks fail, their calculated moves fall flat, and they start to feel exactly what they wanted her to feel: frustrated, powerless, and exposed. People often mistake power for dominance, thinking the loudest, most aggressive person wins. But a Sigma female knows the truth. Real power is the ability to control yourself when others are trying to break you. And once a manipulator realizes they have zero influence over her emotions, they're left scrambling, desperate, and ultimately defeated without her even lifting a finger. Number 5, she treats fake people like ghosts. They exist, but she doesn't acknowledge them. The fastest way to destroy a manipulator isn't to expose them, fight them, or try to outplay them. It's to deny them access to your energy entirely, and that's exactly what a Sigma female does. She doesn't waste time arguing with fake people. She doesn't engage in passive-aggressive battles or entertain their attempts to pull her into their drama. She simply stops acknowledging their existence. And for someone who thrives on control, manipulation, and attention, that is the ultimate destruction. When a Sigma female decides someone is fake, they become nothing more than background noise. She'll walk past them like they're invisible. She won't answer their texts, won't react to their digs, and won't waste a single breath explaining why she's done. She just is. No announcement, no dramatic exit, just a sudden permanent disappearance from her attention. This is devastating for manipulators because their entire strategy depends on engagement. They need her to react, defend herself, or get emotional, but instead she gives them nothing. Silence, indifference, the cold reality that she has already moved on. And that's something they can't handle. Some will try harder, escalating their games in a desperate attempt to get a response. But a Sigma female remains unbothered. Others will crumble, realizing that without her energy to feed on, they have nothing left to manipulate. Either way, the outcome is the same. They lose, and she walks away untouched. This is what makes a Sigma female so dangerous to those who play mind games. She doesn't fight battles that aren't worth her time. She wins by refusing to play at all. Number 6, she's already run every possible outcome in her mind. A Sigma. Female doesn't walk into a situation blindly. She's already 10 steps ahead before you even think about making a move. While most people react to things as they happen, she's already calculated every possible outcome in her mind. This isn't paranoia, it's strategy. She observes patterns, studies behavior, and connects the dots long before others even realize there's a game being played. When someone tries to manipulate her, they assume she'll respond emotionally, but what they don't realize is that she's already predicted their moves before they make them. She's seen this game before, whether it's flattery, guilt-tripping, playing the victim, or subtle psychological tricks. It's all predictable to her, and because she knows what's coming, she knows exactly how to counter it. If someone tries to gaslight her, she remains unfazed because she already anticipated the attempt and mentally prepared herself. If they try to trap her in a situation, she's already identified the exit routes. If they think they can win by pushing her buttons, she's already deactivated them. By the time they think they have the upper hand, she's already checkmated them without breaking a sweat. This is why manipulators and deceivers hate dealing with her. She doesn't react. She preempts. Most people fall into traps because they're too focused on what's happening in the moment. But a Sigma female? She's been 3 moves ahead since the beginning. She doesn't just see what's in front of her. She sees what's coming next, what happens after that, and how it all plays out in the end. And the best part? She lets people think they're winning until it's too late. She doesn't announce her strategy, doesn't warn them, and doesn't need to prove anything. She simply watches as they walk into their own downfall, unaware that she already knew exactly how it would end. By the time they realize she was always in control, the game is already over. Number 7, she's already won before you even knew there was a game. The brutal truth about trying to play a Sigma female: you've already lost before you even realized there was a game. Most people walk into situations thinking they have the upper hand, believing they can manipulate, deceive, or control outcomes to their advantage. But a Sigma female doesn't operate on the same level as the average person. She doesn't react, she doesn't engage, she doesn't even acknowledge the game, and that's exactly why she wins. While others waste time scheming, testing limits, and pulling emotional strings, she remains completely unbothered. Not because she's oblivious, but because she saw it all coming before it even started. By the time someone thinks they're making a move against her, she's already analyzed their motives, their weaknesses, and the inevitable downfall they don't even see coming. She doesn't waste energy proving her intelligence, exposing lies, or getting revenge. She doesn't need to. The simple fact that she refuses to participate already places her beyond anyone's control. And this is what destroys manipulators and game players the most. They realize too late that they were never in control to begin with. Her power doesn't come from fighting battles. It comes from the fact that she doesn't need to fight. She lets people underestimate her, lets them believe they have the upper hand, right up until the moment they realize she was never even in the arena. She was already walking away while they were still planning their next move. The most devastating thing about a Sigma female: she wins without even trying. Number 8, she won't waste her energy on a battle that's not worth fighting. A Sigma female doesn't fight meaningless battles, she eliminates them entirely. While most people get caught up in ego-driven conflicts, emotional outbursts, and petty dramas, she watches from a distance, unimpressed and unmoved. Not because she's weak or afraid to engage, but because she knows true power is in choosing where to invest her energy. She sees through every attempt to provoke her. Insults, manipulation, passive-aggressive jabs, none of it works because she has already decided it's beneath her. And that's what people don't understand. They mistake her silence for defeat, her lack of reaction for weakness. But the truth is much harsher. If she ignored you, you were never a worthy opponent to begin with. A Sigma female calculates every battle before stepping into it. Is it worth her time? Will it lead to something productive? Or is it just a desperate attempt from someone seeking validation through conflict? If the answer is the latter, she disengages completely. No explanations, no debates, no feeding into someone's desperate need for control. And nothing infuriates a manipulator more than being denied a reaction. They need chaos to win. They need her to defend herself, to prove something, to engage in their twisted little game. But when she refuses to participate, they lose by default. The irony is, people often think they've won when she walks away, but real winners don't need to announce their victories. They just move on. And when a Sigma female moves on, she never looks back. Number 9, she knows people will betray, so she's always 10 steps ahead. A Sigma female doesn't live in a fantasy where loyalty is guaranteed. She knows betrayal is just a matter of when, not if. While most people are blindsided when someone turns against them, she sees the cracks forming long before they break. She pays attention to patterns, not promises. The way someone reacts under pressure, the subtle shifts in their energy, the tiny red flags others ignore. She takes notes. She's not paranoid, she's just always 10 steps ahead. That's why betrayal never destroys her. She's already prepared. Financially, she's got backup plans. Emotionally, she never invests more than she can afford to lose. Strategically, by the time someone thinks they've outmaneuvered her, she's already left the board. And here's the part that truly stings. She doesn't give second chances. No dramatic showdowns, no begging, no explanations. She simply erases people from her life as if they never existed. While they're still trying to figure out what happened, she's already thriving somewhere else, completely unfazed. Messing with a Sigma female isn't just risky, it's a guaranteed loss. Number 10, she deciphers manipulation before you even attempt it. A Sigma female is a natural human lie detector, and that's what makes her impossible to manipulate. Most people get trapped in mind games because they don't recognize manipulation until it's too late. But a Sigma female, she catches it before it even begins. She picks up on the tiniest shifts in tone, body language, and intention. She hears the hidden motives behind words, spots the inconsistencies in actions, and senses the emotional traps before they're even set. A guilt trip? She sees right through it. Gaslighting? She shuts it down before it takes hold. Subtle emotional coercion? Nice try. What makes her so dangerous to manipulators is that she doesn't call them out immediately. Instead, she watches, collects data, and lets them think they're being slick. She wants to see just how far they're willing to go, how deep the deception runs. And when she's gathered enough proof in her mind, she doesn't argue, doesn't explain, she simply removes herself from the equation. That's the most devastating part for manipulators. They never get the reaction they want. No anger, no emotional breakdown, no dramatic confrontation, just a quiet, calculated exit that leaves them frustrated, powerless, and exposed. And the best part? She never warns them. By the time they realize she was onto them from the start, she's already gone. In the end, you don't play a Sigma female. She plays life on her own terms. While others get tangled in mind games, manipulation, and petty power struggles, she moves with quiet precision, effortlessly dismantling those who try to control her without ever lifting a finger. Her strength isn't in dominance, aggression, or revenge. It's in her unshakable self-mastery. She doesn't react the way people expect, doesn't fight battles that aren't worth her time, and doesn't seek validation through proving a point. She simply exists above the game itself, and that's what makes her untouchable. By the time someone realizes they've lost, she's already gone, moved on, unbothered and thriving in a world where she plays by her own rules. And that right there is why you can't play with a Sigma female. If this resonated with you, don't just watch. Be part of the movement. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on powerful content like this. Like this video if you enjoyed it, drop a comment below with your thoughts, and share it with someone who needs to hear this truth. Sigma females don't follow the crowd. They lead their own path. And if you're one of them, this is the place for you. Join the community, stay unstoppable, and I'll see you in the next one.